This is the UAE Sport Podcast, a podcast that celebrates and explores the fascinating sporting stories, activities and events here in the United Arab Emirates.
This is episode 10 of the UAE Sport Podcast, and thank you so much for downloading it. It is so appreciated, you have no idea. Today we have a fantastic interview with the ironically named Fat Boys in Lycra. 5 guys who enjoy triathlon and training, and they're making quite a community out of it, so it's a really good interview. I hope you really enjoy it. But first, we'll start the podcast with the news.
Your news on Tuesday the 8th of June. Following the UAE's 4-0 victory against Malaysia on Thursday, Bert van Marwijk stated that he remained optimistic of qualifying from Group G of the Asian qualifiers for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022 and AFC Asian Cup in 2023. The UAE will participate in the World Judo Championships in 2021. The competition will be held in the Hungarian capital of Budapest from the 6th to the 13th of June. Tadej Pogačar will continue preparations for his Tour de France title defense by competing in the Tour of Slovenia, his home race. Pogačar was named in a strong UAE Team Emirates lineup on Monday for the 5-stage tour which begins tomorrow, Wednesday the 9th. The Abu Dhabi Cycling Club held a ride for 300 cyclists on Al Hudayriyat Island, on the occasion of World Cycling Day, on Saturday. The event was sponsored by the Abu Dhabi Sports Council and in collaboration with the UAE Tour.
That was your news. Now on to the big interview with the Fat Boys in Lycra. It was a really good chat and I hope you enjoy it. I'm joined by Craig Broomy, Danny Walker, George Hillier, Ryan Wolf and Andy Price. Together they are known as Fat Boys in Lycra. And guys, I'm not going to lie, not an ounce of fat on either of you. So how did you get that name?
Yeah, they used to be. It was a group of lads that joined together, were slightly overweight and took up cycling triathlons to try and lose a bit of the poundage.
And how's it going? I mean, well, I can see for myself, which isn't probably the best for an audio podcast because I can see you guys and they can't. So, I mean, you guys are all looking fantastic. So you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, we have our ups and downs. We have parts of the season where we're looking slim, and we have parts of the season where we're looking not so slim, really. The aim is to try and get to a race weight so we can actually get round the course of a triathlon in the best possible way, and that needs us to be in a sort of a good shape.
So how did you guys all meet? How did you come together? Let's ask George.
So I know Wolfie from university. We kind of did a very similar course. Lost contact, I guess, for a few years until he moved out to Dubai. So that was really nice. And then I have met Craig and Andy through school. So we both work at Ranches Primary School. And then Danny has been a long-term friend of Craig and Andy. So that's how we kind of all got together. And yeah, I kind of came to the school. And to be honest, I was quite amazed at the fact that Andy and Craig have both done Ironman, and I thought that's pretty cool. I've done a little bit of cycling, but I never kind of did any triathlon stuff. So yeah, I think I badgered Craig for a little bit and said, "Can I come out for a ride with you?" And eventually he let me after maybe 5 or 6 weeks of me pestering him. And then Wolfie came along to that, so that was nice. And now we've got a really nice group called the Fat Boys in Lycra.
Excellent. Okay, Craig, do you feel as if you all have your own strengths? Do you feel as if like one's better at maybe running compared to cycling and swimming and so on?
Yeah, definitely. And that, to be honest with you, is the beauty of triathlon. What's great about the sport is if you're particularly injured at any one time, there tends to be another element that you can focus your efforts on. So in particular, when I'm injured, I tend to do more swimming. Same with all the boys across our mix. You know, Danny's clearly our swimmer. Pricey is actually a very, very good runner. He may not look it. The two young boys, to be fair to them, are very good at all three. And they keep us older boys ticking along, trying to keep on their coattails.
Amazing. And you've decided to capture your journey together through YouTube. which is really interesting to me as someone that's quite into content. What was the reason behind you deciding to do a YouTube channel? I'll ask Andy that.
I think we can blame the wives and girlfriends for this, really, because we spent a long time away from them, obviously doing the training, but we would come back with the stories and the competitive races that we went to, and they said, you should put this out somehow, and podcasts, and I think YouTube has, exploded over the lockdown period, and we felt it would be lovely to document what we were doing, especially the two younger lads who haven't done full distance Ironmans yet, and showing people how you can train for it and how you can accomplish your goals. And we have great fun doing it on the way. And I think for us, the biggest thing about the videos is we're average, well, older now, but we're average triathletes. And when we get things to review, I think we always say we're not experts, but you can guarantee you're getting a non-biased review of major triathlon products. And I think that's what people have reported back to us. And when they're getting into the sport, they say, we trust your view because you're getting these products and you're telling the truth about them. And we watch a lot of other YouTube triathlon people, and they're very big, and they're experts, and they get a lot of things thrown at them, and you can't really see where the sponsorship comes from and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're priding ourselves that we're not experts. We tell people we're not experts, but this is our view.
Excellent. Wolfie, what is the process from beginning to end then of obviously capturing your footage and then putting it together into content that, like, obviously is really interesting? I like it. So that you think would be interesting for other people to watch?
Yeah, so I think praise goes to Pricey on that one, because he started really pushing the content in terms of, getting the footage, Brumi, George have all got GoPros, just hooking them up to bikes, hooking them up when we run, and just trying to get as much video, even if it's something silly, even if it's a small easy ride or an easy run, just get the video out, get the camera out, get some sort of footage, get some pictures. Because obviously we are on the bikes or we're out training for a good few hours. We spend a lot of time together, so there's plenty of opportunity to get one. And then I think the biggest thing for us is getting this microphone that Price has bought, which has been massive in terms of our sound quality and the quality of the videos, getting all of the content together. And then most weekends, Price is sitting on his Mac, editing and tweaking things and telling us, boys, we need this review. Can you do that? Can you do that? And because we're all good lads, we all just crack on with it. So it's quite nice, really.
Yeah. How much time roughly do you spend together? Dan?
It depends on what's going on with the season, but generally we are together at least as a group of 5 twice a week, and that tends to happen at the weekends. And then we will be coming together during the week, and that could be a mixture of all sorts of people coming together for swims, for runs, for bike runs, for a variety of different activities. So again, it depends on the time of the season. If we were getting close to a race, we probably would meet up more often during the week to get ready for the event. But otherwise, it's probably 2 to 3 times a week.
Andy, you said that it was your wives and girlfriends that were quite behind the YouTube channel. Getting together for like 50 kilometers every Saturday and your swims and stuff like that, do you feel as if they're kind of feeling a little bit neglected now that they've pushed you to do this YouTube channel and now they don't see you anymore?
They're affectionately known as the Twags, the triathlon wives and girlfriends. Yeah, I know. I remember when we started training for the Challenge Roth in 2019. I literally didn't see my wife for 6 months. It's that hard a training to get there. But they see how much we enjoy it and how much that we put into it. So I think they probably see us more now because they see us on the telly. So it's, yeah, and I think what we want to do now is push it out to the community. And a lot of people have, George has been really pushing the social media side of things, and people have got in contact. And like you've just said, it feels like we know you, we'd like to come and train with you. And I think we've got plans for something coming up in September.
Okay. Will you keep me involved or in the loop in what's happening in September?
You're in.
Wait. I didn't say anything about joining in with anything. I just want to know what's happening. So I'm going to speak to the youngsters, as you guys call them now, George and Ryan. You've never done a full Ironman, which is what you're building up to do. I'll go for Ryan first. Where are you in that process of actually getting to the Ryan, the full Iron, the Ryan man, the full Ryan man?
Yeah, that's actually quite a good question, because the older boys were locked in for an Ironman this July, but postponed it to the year after. And then me and George were signed up for the one in Spain in Vitoria, which is also in July. Obviously, we've been debating because of COVID, because of all the restrictions going on and quarantine. Are we going to keep training? Are we going to go for it? It was literally, I think, about 2 weeks ago, we got an email saying they're going to push it back to September. And as we are all teachers, obviously it's a bit difficult for us with the summer holidays. And I would like to go personally, I'd like to go home. So that's actually, I've deferred my Ironman position to next year. So I've actually slowed down my training. But George, on the other hand, is full steam ahead. He's got approval from his school, which has been brilliant. And he's still training for the new date, which is beginning of September.
Excellent. George, anything to add? That sounds incredible. So you're going for it in September?
Yeah, going for it in September. But what's really nice about being part of this group, and you touched upon how everyone's got their strengths in the group, and it's I say it's meant to be an inclusive group and whatever. It's been nice for me to be able to talk to Danny about the swimming, Andy about the running, Craig about the cycling, and kind of pick up ideas from them. Obviously, they've been there and done it, and to actually spend a bit of time saying, "Oh, Craig, what do you think about this? Am I doing too much training? Am I not doing enough?" It's nice to have an ear to someone who's actually done multiple kind of Ironman races. Otherwise, I think you spend a lot of time in your head thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? So just having a supportive network of these guys who I train with most weeks has been really nice. And with Wolfie living in Business Bay, so he literally lives in the building right next to me. We can kind of get out, we can swim together, we can ride together, So it's, again, it's a nice community. And I think what Andy said is everyone's kind of welcome. It's not an intimidating group. It's kind of, it's the fat boys in Lycra, but it's fun, and it's kind of let's try and get everyone involved, and let's try and get people actually involved in the sport, and a bit of a community, if you will.
Excellent. Craig, for the layman out there, tell us about a triathlon, and why do you guys want to do this?
Yeah, good question. And more importantly, why do we keep going further distances? That's a puzzler I keep scratching my head about. I think I touched on it earlier. Coming from a sporting background, being a PE teacher, I grew up playing team sports, predominantly, football, rugby, hockey. And I've reached a stage where to go and play 90 minutes football now, I'll be struggling to walk for the next 4 or 5 days. I really would. Whereas a sport where I tend to be very linear and moving in a straight line, I tend to go on and on for quite a long time. And I find that the older I get, the energy system to keep going appears to be a little bit better than the short, sharp burst of energy needed to play a younger man's sport, you could call it. It started off with some of us, I know in particular with Andy, we just what's called duathlon, which is simply running and cycling, which is great for those who've got a real aversion to the swimming. Particularly open water swimming, but it naturally, nature takes its course. We spend a bit more time in the water. You get used to it a little bit more and more. And from a sporting point of view, there's not many sports out there where you can say on the exact same day, you run the same course as the best professional in the world. You don't get to run out to the pitch at Wembley Stadium on the same day that Harry Kane's out there. Yet we can go to Roth in Germany and be on the course with Jan Frodeno, the world number one, the world record holder, on the exact same day, in the exact same course. And for us, that's a beauty of the sport, that we can do the exact same thing that the professional athletes are doing at virtually the exact same time. And I think that's what really keeps drawing us back to do it more and more.
Do you ever feel the need when you've run, like I feel Ironman triathlon distance is like 100 kilometers to run. What is a full Ironman?
So a full Ironman is 3.8 kilometer swim,
Okay.
a 180 kilometer cycle, followed by a 42 kilometer full marathon.
And in that 42 kilometer full marathon, at what point do you want to phone the taxi?
After about 10 steps, once you've walked out of transition, to be honest.
No, I mean, hats off to you guys. Daniel, like in the Emirates, what is your favourite race to do? Like, you've got different Emirates that do different races. You've the one that I followed was in Iraq. You've obviously got the big one through Dubai. What is your favourite?
That's a tough one because obviously we tend to do a variety of different race distances. So that can have a big factor on what you really enjoy. Particularly like the shorter races. They're good fun, they're fast and quick, and we can have a real good race amongst each other, have a real good laugh. But I think the one I would lean towards is the ITU, which happens in Abu Dhabi. So the International Triathlon Union hold a pro race in Abu Dhabi and around the March period. And as Craig mentioned earlier on, it's a chance to not only see some of the best triathletes in the world, you race on the same course as them. And part of the course is going around the Abu Dhabi circuit. And that would be my favourite. And that's the Olympic distance.
We touched earlier on Andy, we mentioned earlier on that it depends on the seasons, on how training goes and stuff like that. How do you combat June, July and August?
It's funny that because our next episode is going to be around what races are coming up in the autumn, but also we're going to do a section on how to run inside on Zwift. Now, I think all of us, we're all sat in little rooms here, but some of us have built pain caves, and I'm very lucky that I've got a bike set up on a trainer in here, and also a treadmill, so I can go onto a computer game. Basically, it's called Zwift, so you can interact with other players around the world. We used it particularly during lockdown, that we all got together and we raced each other on bikes, and it's great interaction. So that's how we're going to cope. I don't know how George is going to cope because he's got a long way to keep going up towards the Ironman. But you get acclimatized to the heat. I'm going to go out running tonight, and I know humidity that we did on the Ring of Kerry on Thursday night was extreme, but you just cope with it.
Yeah. So you mentioned Zwift. How do you spell that? Is it Z or S W Z?
Yeah, ZWIFT.
We today I've just bought I've got a road bike upstairs, and I've just bought an indoor thing that I can put my back wheels on and just go for it and just sit and watch the TV. So I might be joining you on Zwift, and I've got a treadmill upstairs as well. So
it's fantastic, and it's very cheap that you can get yourself set up and into this interactive game. And Breamy's son, as in the UK, is actually taking it up as well. And I love the fact that he's actually faster than his dad.
Ryan, it was mentioned earlier on that you're trying to build a community around Fat Boys and Lycra. How easy is it for people to get in touch with the Fat Boys and join in with like you guys cycling, training and running and so on and so forth?
Yeah. So George is kind of that social media hub, and we found that Instagram has been probably our easiest and most popular side of networking and that. But simple as George can put up a post about Power Meter Pedals, about what you're training this weekend, what you're doing, and we get a range of people just replying to these messages, just saying about what they're doing, what their opinion is. Oh, we like your content, blah blah, which has been amazing. And a little bit touched on what Andy said. In September, we are planning on doing a few things within the community, especially at Nash, to do the cycling, maybe some group rides together. We always train at the Hamdan Sports Complex in terms of swimming, so we've always had an open invite for that as well. There's no rules on who can join. It's, drop us a message. We're going to be here at this time, and we can sort things out from there.
If people are looking to join you guys, what what kind of things should they be looking out for themselves, like nutrition wise, and do they need to be at a certain standard before they can like come along and join you guys in?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, because of it being so open, we'd ask a few questions like, what is your goal? Like, what are you looking to get achieved from the run, from the swim, or from the bike? Because we're out most weekends, so depending on, obviously, George is still going for his 4 Ironman, so he'll be going a long distance, whereas the other of us, we're all sort of ticking over. So as long as we can find out from whoever wants to join us what their standard is, what they want to do, we can sort of tailor that ride or tailor that run to what suits them, what suits us. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's so easy to send a message on Instagram, just pop a message and we can work from there.
Okay, I'm going to go through you one at a time. Brumi, from when you started with the Fat Boys and Lycra to where you are now, what has been the biggest difference that you've seen in yourself?
Well, I had to say this because it doesn't really match our name, but probably my waistline. I can honestly sit here as somebody who's weighed 96 kilos, getting into this sport and looking the way I looked in a wetsuit and in Lycra in particular. And there are many photos out there. It's still going in the right place. It's around about 77 kilos currently. But that has been the major difference from me personally, but also I think in terms of how much the growth has been in the sport. I mean, if anybody, for example, goes past our Qudra cycle track at the weekend currently, even from myself being in Dubai for 4 years, being in the Middle East for about 12 years now, seeing that expand and that growth and the number of people wanting to cycle, for example, they don't necessarily have to be doing triathlon. The growth in the sport it's unmeasurable, I think, really, in the sort of 15, 20 years that I've been involved, how it has changed. And just seeing, for example, the young boys and what they're getting into, and they're talking about things like power meter pedals. And for some of us who are still scratching our heads wondering what on earth they are, it is brilliant to see. And it's brilliant to see where they will take the sport onto in the next 15, 20 years.
Excellent. George, same question to you.
You know what? As a kid, I swam a bit and I used to do a little bit of running, but not a lot. And to be honest, it's nice to get back into swimming, maintain the cycling and keep doing the running, or just can learn to run again, which sounds quite strange. Like, you obviously run a lot as a kid and you swim a lot as a kid and you do all that sort of stuff. And then you I don't know, move through university, whatever it is. I didn't do any running. I didn't do any swimming, nothing at all. So to kind of transition from someone who has literally done just sports and just kind of the gym and whatever to this, yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. Learning how to run and swim again. There you go.
Dan?
I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, I think I've done over 50 triathlons now, and same as Craig as well earlier on, I've always been a games player, football and cricket, and we got to a point where that wasn't feasible anymore. And we were at a moment when we worked in Kuwait that people were doing this around us, and it just looked fascinating and sort of like a big challenge for us. And I think I really needed that. Although it was not a team event, you still have the same banter and the same fun with a group of people. Although we're doing it individually, there's lots to talk about. There's, how we're going to prepare for it, and how did the race go? What was your highlights, etc. So I still like the social element of it, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. That I'm thinking now, when's the next race? When are we going to go and do the next race? I'm really looking forward to it. So it's really the social element that, I lost it with my sports, my games, but I've regained it through triathlon.
Amazing. Andy?
My wallet has got a lot less heavy because you have to buy some expensive. Well, you don't have to buy expensive gear, but it seems that I have bought some expensive gear, and it does make you quicker. But I think for me, joining the Fat Boys and Lycra, it's been a camaraderie. I remember doing duathlon and thinking, right, I'd love to do a triathlon, but I really can't swim. And having that camaraderie in the group, people encouraging you and saying, right, no, go on, you can do it. And then going to Roth with the boys and looking at a course that's 3.8 kilometre swim. And that was just really, really daunting. But knowing that they're there at the end I mean, this sounds a bit crass to this lot, but you know, when you're on that marathon and you're only a tenth of the way in and you're struggling, it does those deep dark moments. You do think, right, I've got to get there. The teams at the end there, and they're willing you on to do it, even though there is a bit of competitiveness between us. We all want to succeed. So I think that for me is the biggest thing.
Amazing. Ryan?
To be fair, it sounds like we're all kind of saying similar things, really. Because before I started all this, you know, I thought I was a bit of a weirdo. I like getting up early. I like going running. I like getting on the bike. And actually, there's 4 other geezers that like doing it as well. So it's actually quite nice just to, you know, do these sort of things. You know, a lot of my friends play football. I used to play a lot of football. And they say, well, you know, you're a donut, you know, going out running all this time and swimming. It's boring. But actually, there is other people that like it. We like having a chat about it. You know, we have the coffee shop ride. We have a good old chat at the coffee shop. So it's just nice to find that passion with other people as well.
Amazing. Let's take it back. The final thing that I would ask, George, the social media man, how can people get in touch with you and find out what you guys are up to?
So our Instagram handle is Fat Boys in Lycra. And to be honest, we welcome any form of interaction. When we started the Instagram page, we had a few followers, and we were getting a few people kind of writing to us. Nothing really though. And to be honest, in my head, if we can get people exercising, like Craig says, it's fantastic. If we can get a few more people involved in triathlon, etc., great. But running the Instagram page, I originally didn't think that too many people were actually going to support it as much as they have done, which has been great. I think we've got maybe nearly 2,500 followers now, which is fantastic. But what I do is we put all the posts out. We let people know about kind of what's going on with our videos, our YouTube videos. Like Pricey said, with the power meter pedals, we try and give a little bit of informative information as well. But I post up a lot of stuff on the stories just saying, what's everyone up to this weekend? Where are you riding? Just generally things like that. And I hope that soon it's going to be right. On Wednesdays, we're swimming, and this is our plan. On Friday, we're biking, and this is our plan. And if we can give an idea to people as what sort of session it will be, I think with swimming, you can just turn up and swim, can't you? But if you're cycling or you're running, you want to know roughly what sort of pace the people are going at. If Craig is running at 4.5 minutes a kilometre, and I know there's no way I can keep up with that, I might decide not to join in with that session. So if we can give the people an idea about what we're actually going to do and when we're going to do it, and if that suits them, they're more than welcome to come along. We have our Fat Boys in Lycra gear now. So yeah, I'm hoping through the Instagram page, we'll really be able to get people in and involve a lot of people.
Amazing. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the UAE Sport Podcast. You guys are ironically named Fat Boys in Lycra. And listen, I can't wait to see what you guys have got planned for the future and in September. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks.
Look forward to you joining us, Phil.
Yeah, we'll see. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Nice one. Thank you so much.
Thanks once again to the Fat Boys in Lycra. As they said, if you want to get in touch with them, you can do on their Instagram. They are lovely guys, so I'm sure they'll welcome you along with open arms. Now, let's have a look at what's on round the Emirates this weekend. First of all, we have the Ambitions Cup. That is a football tournament for developing children from 6 to 12 years old. That will take place in ISD Football Dubai Sports City on the 11th of June. Also on the 11th of June, we have the Al-Ain Night Run. That will take place at Al-Ain Shooting Equestrian and Golf Club. On the 12th of June, we have the Iron Star Indoor Triathlon Run. If you are feeling inspired by the Fat Boys in Lycra, that will take place at Max and Ego Al Maidan Road in Dubai. And on the 13th of June, we have the 11th FASA World Powerlifting Championship World Cup, and that will take place in Dubai. If you have any events that you're looking to plug, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us at uaesportpodcast@gmail.com. That was episode 10 of the UAE Sport Podcast. Once again, thanks very much to the Fat Boys in Lycra for giving me your time. It was a great chat, and I hope everyone listening to this really enjoyed it. If you have any comments at all on the podcast, please do not hesitate to get in touch. You can do it at uaesportpodcast@gmail.com, or else get in touch with us on Instagram. Please like, rate and subscribe to the podcast. It would mean an awful lot, and we will see you next week.